energy flows where attention goes. Now, what does that even mean? Energy flows where attention goes. Yeah, wherever you apply focus, okay, what happens is it expands, it grows. Okay, whatever you focus on will grow. Whatever you focus on will evolve into more. Okay, and the principle means that wherever you place your focus, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, okay, even spiritual, okay, so it will start to flourish. It will start to get bigger. Good morning, Alan. It will start to, it will start to, it will start to, there will start to be more of it. Okay, it will start to expand. That kind of thing. So over time, consistent attention shapes outcomes. Okay, now we already know that everything's a projection from in here. Okay, we went over that, right? Everything's a projection. So now over time, focus, right, shapes the outcomes. Habits, reality, all of that. Everybody has their own reality, right? So yeah, good morning, lady. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So over time, right, this shapes your outcome and your reality. And it's why that you want to stay away from fear, because fear gets in and corrupts everything. Okay? Fear corrupts everything. Why? Because fear is at the very bottom and at the very root of all negative emotions. So your positive emotions, right, on this side are all a part of love. So if you take them in section, positive and then negative, right? The positive emotions all belong to love. The negative emotions all belong to fear. So if you're fearing, right, or if someone can keep you in fear, they can actually move you off of your life path. Okay, so fear is also responsible for shutting off some of your DNA. Okay, what happens to DNA when fear is experienced? It kind of closes off like that. Okay, so what happens when you get rid of the fear? It starts to open up and new expressions happen within the DNA. So when you apply focus to something, right, it begins to grow. You get more of it. So if you apply focus to good emotions that belong to love, okay, now you're expanding that. If you apply your focus to negative emotions, worry, okay, you ever worry? Okay, you know how one worry leads to the next worry, to the next worry. Pretty soon, you've got all these worries instead of just one. You have more. Okay. So when you focus on worry, when you focus on negativity, anything negative, worry, it could be too concerned about something, right? And you focus on it in a negative sense, and it will start to grow negatively. But when you shift your focus, and this is why we say reframe, refocus. Okay, because when you reframe something, okay, everything has a positive and negative to it. Okay, when you reframe something, you're taking something that appears to be negative, and you're looking for the positive side of it or the positive aspect of it, and then you're switching it. And then what happens? Well, then you have to hold that focus. Okay, you have to hold that focus in the positive. Because now when you hold that focus in the positive, guess what? You're going to change your circumstances. You're going to change the way you feel. You're going to change your perspective. All of these things change when you start holding on to that perspective. So don't focus on fear, focus on good things, okay? So when you're concentrating on your desired goals, okay, you're trying to manifest something, or let's say it another way, you're trying to accomplish your goals, because manifestation is just accomplishing goals. So you accomplish goals whether you decide to do it or not, okay? Because everything in your life is a byproduct of your thoughts. Okay, you think the thought, right? You think it over and over again, goes into your subconscious as a belief, right? Pretty soon your subconscious is expressing it in repetition because it's become a program. It's become a belief. So it starts expressing it for you over and over and over. Some people don't know that these habits that they have or these tendencies that they have come from their subconscious. They're unaware of it. They just see life as, well, this is how I am, this is what happens, and they get the same results all the time. But they're unaware that these are programs, and they're unaware that they can change it. Okay, you can do something about it. You can change it. Okay. So the role of the conscious mind, let's just go over how it happens. So the role of the conscious mind, okay, the conscious mind is like the spotlight of awareness. Analytical, logical, okay, handles decision making, that kind of thing. Okay, how does attention work with the conscious mind? When you choose what to focus on, okay, you feed energy into that focus. Okay, the conscious mind filters reality through selective focus. When you're selective of your focus, okay, when you're precise in your focus, when you choose specifically what to focus on, that's how your conscious mind helps. It focuses on that. Now, when you're focusing on it, what happens? Eventually, it goes into your subconscious as a program. So your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It's the gatekeeper. If you don't want something in your subconscious, all you do is stop it at the conscious level, or it will go into the subconscious as a program. So when you get a thought you don't want, when you get a negative thought, just say stop and switch your focus. Then that thought won't get in your subconscious. Then you won't have a subconscious program based upon that thought. Okay, and this is really important knowledge, because when you have let's say a spooky thought, a thought that scares you, okay, you want to switch your focus right away. Why? Because it will mess with your manifestation. Okay, your manifestation of regular things that you're doing. Okay, so let's say everything is going good in your world. You don't want fear. You do not want fear. Good morning, Costas. Good morning. You don't want fear. Okay? So when life is going good and you're manifesting good things, or let's say it another way, right? When you're accomplishing your goals and a fearful thought comes, you want to discard it. You want to prevent it from getting in your subconscious. Just say stop and switch your focus. Because when negative thoughts start to penetrate your subconscious or start to get in there as programs, the subconscious will repeat those programs for you, and they will result in negative circumstances. Okay, so if we look at the tree, the subconscious tree, right? The roots of the tree are your subconscious beliefs. The trunk of the tree is your paradigm that's formed by what you believe. Your paradigm dictates how you see the world, your attitude towards the world. Okay, the tendencies you have to think about things, the way you see things. Okay, that results in the fruits of the tree up here, which are your actions. Okay, and your actions turn into results. So that's why they say the definition of insanity is doing the same actions over and over and over, expecting a different result. You cannot get a different result with the same actions. It's impossible. That's why they say it's the definition of insanity, because it's impossible. So if you come from gratitude, let's say, for example, okay, if you come from gratitude all the time, if you're grateful for every little thing, okay, like, I say my gratitude practices every day, and it starts in the shower in the morning, right? Because I thank God for the shower. I thank God for hot water. I thank God for water. You know how many people don't have water, like hot and cold running water in the world? If you have a hot shower in the morning, you are among the minority in the world. There's 8 billion of us. There's 8 billion of us. Good morning, Garrett. Okay, the majority of people in the world don't live like we do in the United States. They don't. They just don't. So we are not, in the majority If you have hot and cold running water, you're not in the majority, you're in the minority. You're special. Okay? You're privileged. So be grateful. So I always say, I'm grateful for the soap, grateful, because I find things to be grateful for. And what it does is it shifts your attitude towards positivity when you're grateful. Okay? It develops a positive attitude. And when you have a positive attitude, guess what? Right? The paradigm, right? The attitude. Okay? Then you start producing the fruits or the actions, positive actions, and then what do you get? Positive results. See? So it's not rocket science. It's not really rocket science. To understand the human brain, there's a little bit of study involved. Okay, but it's not that difficult. There's only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Now, the superconscious we call God. Okay, so that's the divine energy. And everything is energy. Yesterday, I was talking about the body and the spirit. Okay, now there's a separation between the body and the spirit. You're not your name. You're not your body. You're the energy that lives in here. Okay, if you want to call that a spirit, you're the spirit that lives in here. Your spirit doesn't touch the ground. Your spirit doesn't live in the world. It doesn't belong in the world. It's completely independent of the world because it lives in here. Okay, the kingdom is in here. Your body belongs to the physical world. It's the physical part of you. Your body touches the ground. Your body walks on the ground. Okay, you experience your body. Your spirit experiences your body. But your spirit has control over the body and authority over the body 24/7, 365. Your spirit contains the will, not the body. Okay? When I look at my hand and I do this, I'm making my hand do that. I am that energy in here, the spirit in here, the one that lives in the kingdom. Okay, Jesus Christ said the kingdom is in here. Gautama Buddha said the kingdom is in here. Krishna said the kingdom is in here. But what happens is we start to identify with the physical. We start to identify with this physical world we live in. And then what happens? That's when the suffering begins. Gautama Buddha told us, right? The man who sees life as an illusion escapes suffering. What's the illusion? Well, you live in a simulation. If you listen to my last podcast, we talked about it in detail, about how you live in a simulation. The simulation is here. It's in here. The brain is interpreting information, sensory information. It's projecting it out this way. Your life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. It doesn't happen like this. You think it may be happening like this. If you think it happens like this all the time, then you're suffering from victim mentality. Life happens for you. It goes like this. It lays it out like this for you. And everybody has a different perception. Everyone has a different understanding. That's the illusion, the projection. Okay? It's your projection, okay? And then you have the collective consciousness, okay? But in the collective consciousness, everyone has an individual projection. Everyone has an individual life path. And there's 8 billion of us on the planet. Thank you, lady. So now, when we're talking about, how does this all work together, the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious with energy and focus? Okay, where energy flows, right? Where focus goes, energy flows, right? So how does that work? Well, when you apply energy to anything, you increase it. Do you increase it out here Or do you increase it in here? You increase it in here first. The universal law of correspondence says everything happens in here first. Okay, that's why the kingdom is within, because God lives in here. So you create in here first. And then everything you create in here is reflected out here. So what are you creating in here? How organized are you in here? Okay. How tidy are you in here? Because that's what your life will look like. I can tell exactly what's going on with people just through observation alone. When I go to somebody's office, I see the condition of their office. I know the condition of the temple. The body is the temple. I know what their kingdom looks like. If somebody's really organized out here, guess what? They're organized in here. Okay, we always talk about that. So your subconscious stores beliefs, your habits, emotions, automatic behaviors. Okay, and the reason why you have a subconscious is so you don't need to learn how to drive the car every day. Okay, you learn one time, okay, and then it's repetition. The subconscious learns in repetition. Once you learn in repetition, what does the subconscious do? It stores it as a program, and it just replays it for you. And you know this because Monday through Friday, you drive to work the same way, same routine, same time, right? Okay, so you have a routine. What happens on Saturday when you want to go buy milk and bread at the store? You start driving, right? But you're thinking about something else. You're thinking about being at the beach later on. And then in about 5 minutes, you have to correct your course. Why? Because you're accidentally driving to work. Why? Because the subconscious is driving the car, not you, not your conscious mind. Okay, but your subconscious starts to learn things and do things better than your conscious mind. Your subconscious learns how to worry. Your subconscious learns how to fear. Your subconscious learns how to be filled with anxiety. Can you program it out? Of course you can. No, if it gets too bad, of course you have to see a doctor, you have to go to therapy, whatever, okay? Everybody has a therapist, right? But when you understand your own mind, when you understand the inner workings of yourself, you're going to start to see how powerful you are. Because that's when you manifest things. That's when you make things happen from in here. And yes, there are extenuating circumstances to everything. There are. Sometimes you can't avoid certain things that happen. But you can certainly affect the percentage, the overall percentage. So the collective consciousness tells us that we're all connected. We're all connected. So there's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, so the conscious, right? It focuses on something. The subconscious receives the focus, creates the program, repeats the program. What does the superconscious do? The superconscious provides you with intuitive thought. Okay, the superconscious is located in the right hemisphere of the brain. That's why Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, not the left. The right hand. Esoterically, it's referring to the right hemisphere of the brain. Because that's where you get intuitive thought from. That's where you get your divine intervention from. Okay, that's where you connect to everyone else and everything else through the superconscious. Infinite intelligence. That's where you get your downloads from. You know when you get those bright ideas, those intuitive ideas. Okay, so you need to act on those. You need to act on those ideas. When you get intuitive thought, that's God telling you, okay, here, do this. You know, like when you're driving down the street, right? And then you get that feeling that you need to turn right, but you dismiss it because you have freedom of choice, right? So you dismiss it. Your ego always thinks it knows better, always. So the ego goes, nope, I know the way. And you go straight instead of making that turn. And then you get stuck in the traffic jam. What do you say? You say, I knew I should have turned back there. Because you did know. You just don't trust the intuitive feeling. Learn to trust it. Okay? Once you trust it more, you will receive divine guidance. And when you understand divine guidance, you'll understand that you get everything you need at the right time. Everything shows up at the right time. But because you're grounded in this physical reality, okay, because you start to believe your body instead of your spirit, okay, because there is a separation, you start to believe in the physical. You start to identify in the physical. Then you start to dismiss everything as a coincidence. Good morning, James. Good morning, brother. I hope you're doing good. I've been thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. So when you're grounded into the physical reality, okay, you start believing all kinds of things that aren't really true. Okay? But when you apply thought to these things that aren't really true, right? Like all rich people must be evil, right? Like money doesn't grow on trees. You start believing all these little idioms and things, right? You start to make it true for yourself through your subconscious. Because you repeat the thoughts, right? A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Now you're installing new beliefs in your subconscious. Now you're acting from those new beliefs. It's your subconscious, just like your subconscious was driving the car to the store. Same thing. And if you're not careful, your subconscious will just run your life. You will run on automatic pilot until you make some changes. So whatever results you're getting, the amount of money you're getting, the amount of love you're getting, okay, the amount of time, free time that you're getting, all of these things are subconscious. Everything. Because every action has a result. And every action is determined by your paradigm. Your paradigm is determined by your beliefs. So they all come up from the roots. And remember, the subconscious doesn't judge. It has no judgment, and it cannot distinguish fantasy from reality. So if you get a bill for $300 for your cell phone, okay, write thank you for the money on the bill. And then call to mind the service you received. See, so many people leave out the gratitude part, right? They leave out the gratitude part and they only focus on the negative part, paying the bill, right? And they focus on that part, but they're not being mindful and grateful about the service they received for the amount they had to pay. Okay, I'm never upset at my cell phone bill. Why? Because my cell phone bill allows me to make money. I use my cell phone for work. My cell phone builds things. My cell phone communicates with clients. So I'm always grateful for the service. And all I do is like, oh, okay, well, it's time to pay the bill again. But I call to mind the service. And I express gratitude for the service. So that's important, okay? Because nobody likes bills. I mean, I don't love my bills. I don't like my bills. But it's a reality. We live in commerce. We live in capitalism, okay? We have bills, okay? So it's important that when you have things like this that may not be your favorite thing, at least you can enjoy it. At least you can, you see, make the best out of it. Reframe it. Okay, that's a good example of reframing. You get a bill, you're like, ugh, it's a bill, right? Oh, I gotta pay the bill. I just earned this money. Now I gotta give it to the phone company, right? Okay. Reframe it. You know? Reframe it into, wow, I'm so grateful for this service. I will donate $300 to this company. Reframe it. It's another way of thinking of it. But your subconscious doesn't know. Your subconscious does not know. Now, what happens when you put this belief into your subconscious? Well, it'll make your life easier. Because you cannot tell your subconscious something and your subconscious tell you no, you're wrong. It just obeys. It's an order taker. It's like you're in the military and you're an officer and your subconscious is a soldier. It will carry out your instructions. Let me show you what instructions look like to the subconscious. Okay, these are subconscious instructions. Okay, here's an old one. This is, and yeah, this is old. But these are subconscious instructions. Okay, this is not journaling. These are affirmations, but they're subconscious instructions. If you're not constantly, consistently instructing your subconscious on what to do, it will start to do its own thing. And you probably won't like the results because it will start playing old, outdated programs. When it starts playing old, outdated programs, you start going in loops. You start going in circles. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. See? So let's say, for example, right, you think that girls don't like you. You're a guy, you think girls don't like you, okay? If you think it over and over again, it will be a belief in your subconscious. Now your subconscious will replay that program. Girls don't like me. Girls don't like me. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to have you create little actions that irritate girls. That's how it works. And then girls won't like you. And then your subconscious reality will kick in. And it will keep you from all kinds of stuff. Choke meditation, breath work, letting go. Oh, good, man. Right on, James. Right on. Yeah, I put the phone up higher today so I could see comments. Right on, James. I'm happy to hear that, brother. I'm glad you're getting better. Right on. More success to you. Good morning, Kimber. Thank you, Costas. Thank you, lady. So with your subconscious, right, it can be your friend or your enemy. If you don't tell your subconscious what to do, it can be your enemy. It can work against you. It will play old programs. Why? Because you'll form new habits, okay? And the new habits will go into your, the new habits will go into your subconscious. And as soon as you slack off, as soon as you let go, okay, and you're not consistent, it's going to go back to the old program. Why? Because the old program was there first. Because the old program ran longer than this program. And this is why you see people make changes, or they go on diets, or they whatever they're doing, right? And they're gonna do new stuff, okay? Oh, I'm taking my life back, all that stuff, right? New Year's, right? Everybody goes to the gym. By the end of February, everybody's gone. They're not in the gym anymore, right? They gave up. Why? Because it wasn't a subconscious change. It was a conscious mind change. It was just a decision, right? And it didn't become a lasting program. Why? Well, because by February, right, your subconscious is slowly drifting back, if you're not enthusiastic about it, if you're not excited about it, If you're not doing your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization about it, guess what happens? It starts to go back to the old program because your old program was there first, because your old program ran longer than the new program. So we used to have meetings. I used to work for this corporation, and we used to have meetings. And I had my own companies at the time, but I used to work for the corporation part-time. And I did business with the business office, and so they would roll out these new policies. Everything was about new policies. You guys probably been through that too, right? You know, so you sit in the meeting and they go, okay, we're gonna roll out this new agenda, and they give you all the new policies, right? But after 2 weeks, what happens? And it only takes 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, people start slacking, and it gets progressively worse. And what's really happening is their subconscious is going back to the old programming, okay? And you don't have to worry about it. So every time there was a new meeting, I used to tell these guys I used to work with, I said, don't worry about the meeting. 2 weeks it'll go right back. Sure enough, in 2 weeks it went right back. We never had to worry about new policies. Okay. They kept rolling it out. We'd have meetings like every 3 months or so, but everything would just go right back. This is why during, right after New Year's, everybody's in the gym, everybody's getting healthy, everybody's going to live a healthy life, right? Wrong. By the end of February, nobody's going to the gym anymore. They all belong to the gym, but they don't go. Not the majority, but I'm just saying, right? So that happens. But it happens because they're not adamant about it in their subconscious or with their subconscious. So when you write your affirmation, like say it's New Year's, and say that you want to eat better. So here you go, affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm eating clean. Thank you. There you go. Who did you express thank you to? The superconscious, okay? Or whoever you believe in, your religion or your belief system, okay? Jesus Christ, Allah, whoever, that's all superconscious. That's all consciousness, okay? Or source or universe, however you want to say it, God, however you want to say it. But you write it. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm eating clean. Thank you. There you go. That's your affirmation. Now you also have to speak it. So you write it in the morning, okay? Write it while your brain is in theta state, relaxed mode, when you first wake up. So make it the first thing you do. Write your affirmation. The last thing you do before you turn off the light, okay, just keep the tablet at your bedside. Right before you turn off the light, speak it out loud, and then go to bed. See, what happens with a lot of people, don't know about the subconscious is whatever you speak, okay, your subconscious responds to your image and your voice over everything else, over everyone else. So when you speak it out loud at night, okay, when you read the tablet and you go, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm eating clean. Thank you. And then just put the tablet down, turn off the light, and go to bed. Because it's the last thing that it hears, your subconscious will be thinking about that all night while you're sleeping. Your subconscious doesn't sleep. It runs your heart. It keeps you alive. It operates your dreams. It does all that. But whatever you speak, so on the other side of the fence, right? If you speak something bad before you go to bed, ooh, ouch. This is why they always say, did you say your prayers at night? Did you say your prayers? They ask the little kids, did you say your prayers before you go to sleep? There's a reason for that. Because when you're praying, when you're making your intentions, okay? When you're asking, ask, believe, receive. When you're asking, you want to ask right before you go to bed. Because God hears your prayers. Okay, God is the superconscious. But now when you speak it, the subconscious starts thinking about it. When the subconscious starts thinking about it, the superconscious picks that up. The superconscious is God. Okay, now God has it. Now what will God do with it? Well, you gave it the subject, okay, whatever you prayed for, okay? Now the superconscious is going to feed into that intuitively. It's going to give you intuitive thought on how to accomplish it. It's going to give you divine guidance on how to accomplish that. This is how prayer works. Prayer is a real thing. Prayers get answered all the time. I've prayed for some pretty off-the-wall stuff in my time, and it all happened. Now, I have to say, right, if you're praying for the first time, okay, maybe your prayer doesn't get answered the first time. So like I showed you with the subconscious, right? I showed you the tablet. Okay. The first thing I have my clients do is write 100 positive I ams about themselves. I am generous. I am kind. I am friendly. I am whatever. Okay. I'm a good brother. I'm a good wife. I'm a good husband. I'm a good cousin. Okay. All of that. And write it down. Why? Because it starts to make your subconscious more aware. It starts to make your subconscious think. Okay. It exercises your subconscious. Your subconscious has to be exercised. In other words, you have to use it. The more you use it, the more you depend on it, the more you're aware of it, rather than just letting it run in the background. Okay, because that's what it does. That's why it's called a subconscious. It's called the subconscious. It runs underneath everything. But once you start exercising, you start working it, your subconscious will start delivering. You can manifest things really fast. Or let's say it another way, you can accomplish your goals really fast, okay? Because that's what it is. God is very real, okay? People have different beliefs about it. I'm not here to tell you how to believe, what to believe, okay? But in my life, God is very real. I just ask God for something, and all I have to do is be patient, and it shows up. The how is always God's job, okay? Always remember, you don't have to know how. If you want to accomplish something, you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You don't have to figure out how. A lot of people get paralyzed in the creation process, and I'm talking about, creating a better life for yourself process, okay? So they think about a job. Well, I think I want to get this job, but I don't know how. Or I think I want to start this company, but I don't know how. I never knew how when I started any of my companies. I depended on God. Or the divine, however you want to say that. Or source, or the universe, or Jesus Christ. All I did was ask, believe, and receive. That's it. First I asked, right? I want a consulting company. And then I believed that it was going to turn out, right? So I started working on it, started building it, and it materialized. I didn't focus on the how because I didn't know how. Here's how the how paralyzes you, right? You start to think like, okay, how is this possible? How is this logical? You're going to start to use your left brain, okay? Left side, logic, okay? And your left brain will go, well, that's not even logical. You can't even do that. You've never owned a business. You've never done a business before. So it's going to give you all these logical reasons of why you cannot. And then it won't be able to figure out how to do it, right? Because there's so many ways how. And then you start to go in circles. And then you get frustrated, and then you give up. And that's what normally happens. People get stuck on the how to. How do I do this? You don't have to know how. Just walk towards it. That's the secret. Okay? Because as you walk towards it, the superconscious or God will start to open the doors. The doors will start to open, the right people will come into play, and you'll get to where you're going. The only time God stops working or the doors stop opening is when the energy stops, when you're not walking towards it. You know, I have a client that I'm making really, really good progress with. And when I met him, he would get stuck because he couldn't figure out how. He didn't know how this was going to work. He didn't know how that was going to work. And I told him, never mind. Just walk towards it. Walk towards it. Everything is energy in the universe. Everything is energy. Everything is the energy in here. Okay, you have a spirit. You're a spirit walking around on the planet. Okay, you're not a meat suit. Okay, you're not just one big chunk of meat. Okay? You have a spirit. And that spirit is connected to the greater field, or what we describe as God. And when you make an impression on that larger energy, okay, that higher energy or that higher intelligence, because all intelligence is energy, it will return that same feeling to you and circumstance in kind. So if you want to pretend that God is a force field, because God is not a person. God is not a person in the sky listening and watching you, and that's a bunch of cartoons. Religion invented that. Okay. But when you make a happy impression on that energy field, you get good results. When you make a miserable impression on it, or an angry impression on it, or negative emotion, right? And this is why yesterday I told you the Indian philosopher Shanakwa said your feelings are your God. Because when you make a fearful impression on it, it will return it to you the same way. Now what do you have? Now you have a manifestation of fear. Now you have a circumstance of fear, right? Now you have something negative that has transpired as a result of your emotions coming back to you. Life is a mirror. Everything gets fed back to you, okay? And it happens through your subconscious. It happens through your subconscious. This is why it says, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. Because when you do something nice for someone else, your subconscious is aware. Your subconscious is taking notes. Your subconscious is all of your senses. It's always listening. Because you are awareness. Now, if all of this sounds crazy to you, just do some research. Just do a little research. But your subconscious is a culmination of all of your senses. So whatever you do, there's a record of it. Okay? In Christianity, it's called the Book of Life. Where's the Book of Life? It's in here. Everything you've ever done is stored in your subconscious. Okay? And this is why they say, do unto others like you want others to do unto you. Because karma is real and it happens through your subconscious. If you do something negative to somebody else, there's a record of it inside. Are you going to feel good about that? Probably not. You're probably going to feel guilty. What happens when you feel guilty? Negative stuff, bad stuff. Pretty soon a negative complex. Pretty soon no self-confidence. Pretty soon complexes, right? So if you want to prevent all this stuff in the first place, just be good to people, right? No karma. When you speak something bad against someone else, Your subconscious doesn't know if you're talking to them or if you're talking to yourself. And if you've been watching the lives, you've heard me say this before, right? And I keep saying these things because it's important that people understand this. Because there is life and death in the tongue. And you can speak life or you can speak death. Let's say it another way. You can speak positive or you can speak negative. When you speak positive, it goes into your subconscious. Now your subconscious reacts in a good way. Now you've set the stage for good things to happen. When you're speaking negative, gossip, whatever, it doesn't matter, it's anything negative. Now you're wondering why you feel guilty. You're wondering why you feel like, I don't feel so good today. What did you do? You see? It goes in your subconscious. What goes around comes around instantly, like that. Okay. But the program may not form instantly. It may take a little while before you lose your self-esteem. It might take a little while before you don't feel all that. It may take a little while before you're filled with anxiety. It may take a while before you're a little depressed. Okay, but it will happen. Because these are the residual effects of negativity. Residual effects. Residual how? Well, your subconscious memorizes things, okay? So if you have a habit of gossip, if you have a habit of striking out at people, if you have a habit of, right, whatever, the subconscious has memorized it. It will keep feeding it back to you. And you'll keep doing it. Okay, and then you got that tree again, right? So the beliefs, right? It'll be a subconscious belief. It'll feed into your paradigm. Now, this is the way you will see the world. You will start to see the world negatively, okay, or pessimistically. And then the actions up here will be a result of pessimism. Actions of pessimism. Think about it. And what will happen? Well, if you're doing negative actions, you're going to get negative results, no matter what, all day long. And people are wondering, like, well, why am I filled with anxiety? Why am I filled with this, that, and the other thing? How come I'm not feeling good? Like, how come I'm feeling kind of weird? We do these things to ourselves. God does not punish. God does not punish. God is love. God is love. God does not punish. We punish. We punish through our actions. If you do something bad, God doesn't need to punish you. Your subconscious will punish you. If you cheat somebody else, you're cheating yourself. Because you have a subconscious. There's a record of that. And this is why people say, right? Like, if you don't trust people, why? And it's because you don't trust yourself. Why? Because you've done some untrustworthy things and your subconscious knows who you are. So now, it's impossible to trust other people because you've done all this devious stuff and now you don't trust yourself. So, of course, you're not going to trust anybody else. You see? You see how that works? So with my clients, we rewire everything. It's just a different way of thinking. It's a different practice. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, it fixes everything. In 3 months, I get new people. And I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to give you the answers. I'm here to give you the information. I'm here to give you the answers. I'm not here to say, take my course or whatever. I don't have a course. I work with people one-on-one. I change lives one life at a time. It's not a group thing. There's no course. There's no anything like that. But there is this live that you can go back and watch for 1 month if you're on Facebook. So we have 2 Facebook pages right now that are being recorded. So it's Here For You Life Coaching, and then it's my personal page. And you can go back and you can watch the live after we're done. And you can take notes and you can study, whatever, just study the live. I'm giving you all the information. Okay, the only difference with me working with clients is that I can be a little bit more thorough. I can make it happen faster. Okay, and we do a vocalization exercise that actually makes a difference with people faster. But other than that, you can help yourself with just re-watching this live. Okay, so hey, Philin, how you doing? Thank you for coming. So, you know, that's the process of the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. So watch what you say, right? Watch what you say often. You know, the things that, the figures of speeches that you have, like, you know, like, I mean, I have them, right? And I say certain things all the time, like an expression kind of thing. Choose your expressions wisely. Because if it's a negative expression and you don't know why you're feeling bad, okay, I can tell. Even with my clients, when I do the intake and stuff, you know, I ask them a series of questions. Based on the answers I get from the questions I ask, I can tell a lot about a person. And the universal law of correspondence, remember that, okay? Whatever is right out here, okay, is reflected, is a reflection of what's in here, okay? Everything in here, okay, so as within, so without. Okay, as above, so below, as within, so without. Everything out here reacts to everything in here. Everything out here, okay? So what you're projecting into the world will come back to you the same way. Not necessarily the same action. I'm talking about the way you feel. So you project good out into the world, good comes back to you. When you project anger, when you project hate, okay, those types of things will come back at you because life is a mirror. Look at God like a big force field, and you push something onto that field. That field will push it back to you. Maybe not that fast, okay? But it will come back. Why? Because there's a record of it in here. Your subconscious, there's a record of it in here. Everything you do is written in the book of life, and the book of life is in here. There is no external savior. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save me. What Jesus Christ was telling us was how to save ourselves. He was showing us. This is how you save yourself in here. The kingdom is in here. You save yourself from in here. What's the fastest way to reprogram your subconscious? To save yourself in here. Okay. How does it save yourself? Well, if you reprogram your subconscious into positivity, the subconscious, right? It learns in repetition. So you got to repeat it. You got to keep doing good stuff. Keep doing your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Now you're doing good things, which prompts good actions, which gets good results. Now you're starting to be productive. Now you're making more money. Now everything's coming. All the goodness is coming. Why? You've created it. You've created it from in here. I know people that go to church every Sunday, but they're stuck in the same program. They're getting the same results. They're donating money at the church. They're broke. They don't have anything because they haven't changed their program. They're relying on God to change it. Well, we'll just give it to God. Let God change it. There's an old saying, right? There's an old saying. God helps those who help themselves. There's a reason why they say that. Because you have to help yourself first. Okay? You have to help this one first. The kingdom is within. Okay? But you have to go into the kingdom first. You have to work within the kingdom first, in here. And then it will be reflected out here. If you don't do the work in the kingdom, guess what? Everything out here that reacts to everything in here will stay the same. And you'll wonder why people treat you like this. Why certain things happen over and over and over and over. How come this is like this? It's like this because you're like this. However you are. Okay? But if you want to change that, what I'm saying, if you want to change the reaction from the outside in, okay, or how people treat you, okay, all you have to do is change a few things in here. That's all. It's a minor change. Okay? It starts with a pen. That's why they say the pen is more powerful than the sword. I know teachers, educators that don't have a clue whatsoever. They don't have a clue about this stuff. Why? Well, it's not the department, or maybe they're math teachers, or they're English teachers, or whatever. Every educator should know this. Because if you don't know these things, you don't know how to teach. I teach 3-year-olds, right? 3-year-old kids. And I have so much fun teaching 3-year-olds. Okay? And 3-year-olds are just absorbing information, data. That's all they do is absorb data. That's all they do, right? And they don't understand anything, but they understand muscles, air, and energy. And I can direct them after that, right? Give me more energy. Use your muscles. That kind of thing, okay? And I get these responses out of these 3-year-olds, and these ladies tell me, these grandmothers bring their granddaughters to me, right? And grandsons. And they go, wow, you work with 3-year-olds. Everybody else only takes them 6 and up. And I'm like, well, they don't know how to teach. I'm not flexing. I'm just saying that if you understand the human being, if you understand how the human being is put together, if you understand the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, and how they work, you can work with any human being. And you can be effective at teaching any human being. Every teacher should go through this. It should be a required course for teaching anything. Because it would make humanity better. Because it would make society better. Because everything would evolve better and more easily if things were understood easier. Okay, but what do we do? We take for granted people understand. And we say, well, it's understood. It's understood. It's common sense, right? It's common sense you should behave like this. It's common sense you should do this. It's common sense. Common sense? If everyone has a different perspective, there is no common sense. There's a collective sense, maybe. But who knows if that would be common or not? Think about it. Think about it. So these generalizations that we make, right, affect our society as a whole. And if these little things were understood, simple things, like how to make these changes, not only would one life be better, but an entire neighborhood could be better. An entire society could be better. And that will make the world better. So remember, if you want to change something out here, all you need to do is change it in here. And it will automatically respond to you. It's 8 o'clock in Hawaii, and Jay is saying, see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for being such an awesome, what's it? Oh, Crafty, thank you. Yeah, you can message me anytime, Crafty. Yeah, Jay is such an awesome moderator. Awesome. Thank you, you guys. So we're going to say goodbye to our international feed. We're on 7 platforms every morning. This is my community service. I have nothing to sell you, nothing to pitch you. I'm not here to try and sell you a course. I don't have a course. I work with individuals and I change lives one person at a time. So, but my website is Here For You Life Coaching. Okay, if you want to take a look at it and see what I do. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Bring your notepad, take notes, and we will study it.